Good afternoon from Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri, US of A. I'm David Cundiff, and for all of my American friends, happy 5th of July. Yesterday was a very wet, rainy 4th of July here in Harrisonville. We got 5 inches of rain and a lightning storm that just pounded us for a long time. It was pretty awesome. It was even neater than the fireworks. So, this is a very momentous milestone marker in the aquaponics project that has been 2 years in the making since we tore down the last one. And that is that we finally have water running all the way through. My cameraman is Mr. Reese again, Reese Perry. And Reese, why don't you go ahead and show him here. Well, you know what, let's start over here. You see the green tube there. That is just a conduit that holds the white pipe, which you see over here. White pipe comes out here. The water is pumped from the tank in there, which we don't need to see. Eventually, these are going to be something, I'm not sure what, we'll put something in there and it'll be neat. And then we're going to make two 50-pound or 50-gallon barrels for potatoes that will grow right there. Water, once it is pumped up, is fed by gravity over to here. This is the first of two, they're called raft beds. And this is where the only medium we're using is going to be water. And in fact, Reese actually planted a couple of cucumbers earlier. This is a sad-looking tomato plant. And to be honest with you, I don't, except for the fact that I want to see success, I don't eat vegetables, so if they grow and there's no fruit on it, that's okay with me. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to plant these. So, we have these cups, which are tremendously cheap. Put the plant in there, and then this rock here, and you don't have to really tamp it in there or do anything. You just want something to hold it, and you want a medium that is loose enough where water can rush through it. So, for example, if you put sand in there, well, first of all, you probably lose your sand, but if you didn't, it'd be too dense for the water to pass through. So, there we go. We got some of this river rock, this little smaller stuff, and we just stick it in there and there. Now, when we come over here, we put it in there. Now, what will happen in time is that the roots will go down. Obviously, that's the way they work. And so you'll see that basically the entire root network will be underwater. The plant itself will not be underwater, but here's the deal. It doesn't matter how much water you put on a plant. If it doesn't get to the roots, then nothing's going to happen. The tops are important, that's where your fruit comes from, but without the water going to the roots, photosynthesis is not going to occur and you're not going to have any growing. So if you go out there and you water your plants during the day, this is David's tip for the day. If you go out there and water your plants and you're just kind of hosing down the top of them and all that, you're not really accomplishing an awful lot. What you need to do is get underneath there so that the plant you're watering actually gets water to the roots. Then it can grow. There you go. Simple enough. Okay, so this is the raft bed, and we've got a couple of cucumbers and a tomato since I went out and bought yesterday. Now this water, and you can see kind of bubbling, this water is actually coming out pretty good. The pump that is inside the shed is a 900 gallon per minute or hour or something. It's 900 gallons per something, and it pushes it pretty good. So water will come in here, and then at some point the level will reach the outlet. So as water comes in, it's all kind of gravitating up this way, and that's because of gravity. Gravity is our friend in this particular project. When you fall off a mountain, gravity is not your friend. Gravity is your enemy. But when we're doing this and we're moving water, gravity is our friend. Isn't that right, Reese?
I believe so.
Isn't that your first friend you ever had, gravity? Okay. So, anyway, the water comes down this way here. It hits that outlet, and you can see outlet, and you can see the inlet over there. You can see the bubbles underneath there where the water is coming in. Now, this is also going to be a raft. These pink things I have in my hand are going to be more rafts like that. Or what we may end up doing is we may end up but splitting this in half and doing something, but we have plans. Okay, same process. The water then, because of gravity, our friend, flows down to here. Same process. It goes down through there, comes up, drains it into here, and then this is also going to be something. Probably next year will be something. This year, maybe not much. We'll talk about that more in a minute, though. So water comes in here, and then of course water, get out of there. Water goes down and drains into this bed here, which we'll talk about this in a minute. But this is the gravel medium. You can kind of see over here from right to left. We've got, Reese, if I make a mistake, let me know. That's a tomato. And these two are volunteer, I think it's called volunteer strawberries. These things were planted like 3 years ago. I don't know what they're doing here and how they survived 2 years of nothing, but they did. So we got the tomato, we've got the cherry tomatoes, and we got another cherry tomato and 2 pepper plants. Now my intent had been to kind of experiment, which is why I do this. And I was going to grow like 1 plant here and 1 plant in the water just to see what happened, just satisfy my curiosity. However, this has been like a baton death march of greenhouse building. So it's taken us this long just to get to here, and we're not going to get a whole bunch more done. Now that brings us back to some stuff I want to talk about. The goal with this when I started. Well, let me back up. I have a friend who I do some gaming with, named David. Everybody calls him Poop. He lives down in Florida. He also is interested in hydroponics and aquaponics, and so we've kind of had a little bit of a conversation. And we are definitely too into the spectrum when it comes to doing this kind of thing. What he does, he says he looks at he's a very smart man. He looks at all the videos, he reads up on it, he knows about pH balances and chemicals, and he's trying to grow an awful lot in a really, really small space. I think like 4x4. So when we have a conversation, sometimes I'm like, I go, I don't know what he's talking about. But that's because he really studies up, and when I ask him about it, that's just his personality type. That's what he has to do. So he is really big into it, and he's got a small one. And then on the other end, when I did this, I knew I needed the hobby. But I also was fascinated by the entire concept of having a closed ecosystem and making all this food. It just spiked my curiosity. So I thought, well, I am not going to look at videos, and I'm not going to read intentionally, because I want to learn. I want to learn by doing, and I don't mind failures on something like this. And there have been failures, but they've been ones that I will not repeat again. Our fish, for example, we had 50 catfish and 50 bluegill, and they survived. They did tremendously well for a real long time, and then toward the end, they just boom, they all died at once. And I figured out eventually that what had happened was I not aerated the water properly. I thought that just the water coming back in and splashing in would be enough to aerate it. But as the fish got bigger, they required more oxygen apparently. And so I pretty much fish-acided them all, just killed them all. And that was a horrible, horrible thing. Because I'm a Christian, but I'm sort of getting these Buddhist tendencies, and that I hate to see any animal unnecessarily suffer. So the bottom line is that was a horrible lesson learned for the fish. It was a good lesson learned for me. Now I know what to do, and that's kind of what I do with this entire thing. We didn't really draw up a blueprint for this thing. We just kind of thought, well, if we want to do this, then we need this. So now, as I stand here before you, we got way more room, and I can still bring all sorts of stuff in than I had with the other one, just because we use things smarter, and we kind of know what we're doing a little bit better. Now, several people, in fact, have talked to me about wanting to do this as well too, and a lot of their questions are really only answered if you know what it is you want to do. With me, look, if I'd had my way, we'd have had half there and half there, and I'd have measured them, and we'd have seen who won the big race, to get eaten first. But we ran out of time, so we didn't. So that's kind of how I look at all this stuff. I don't really like any of these vegetables, but I like this entire thing of what I'm doing. So for me, it's just exploration. You can hear our water kicking off in the background. It's exploration, and it's very peaceful here in the summer, by the way, when you have all your plants up and the water is flowing. It's kind of a fun deal where there are no rules. And I'm at that point in my life where I was in the Army 25 years, and taught at school for a while, and I tell you, I don't want too many more rules. I like to be able to kind of do what I want to do. And so that's what David does one end, I do the other end, and both of us are perfectly happy, and we both respect the heck out of each other for the way that they do it. Oh, by the way, there's Maggie. Maggie, the dog with no brain. But so again, when I talk about aquaponics, when I talk about what we're doing here, understand this is just with me and my little world and the way I want to do it. I said over and over, and I'll continue to say it, there are no rules when it comes to this, except, you know, let's be smart about it. You know, you gotta, you know, you can't just plant them in concrete. You gotta have a decent medium, you know. So that kind of brings us to the first question of the day. And our question of the day comes from Rochelle, a very sweet lady that I do some gaming with King of Avalon. And she says, David, you handsome stud. I mean, something like that. I don't remember the exact wording. She said, what kind of fish do you use, and what's the criteria for determining what kind of fish you can use? And I'm thinking, that's a good question. So, Rochelle, here's the answer. If that fish poops and you can eat it, not the poop, the fish, then you're good. Now, that's a very simple answer, and it is pretty much true. Now, I'll tell you what I did last year, or 2 years ago now, and then what we're gonna do when we finally incorporate fish. Last time, they had tilapia, and I'm like, you know what? Tilapia is like a boring little white fish that nobody ever heard of until a few years ago, and then the yippies, you know, said it was healthy and crap. So I wasn't gonna get with that fish, and then they said they had a hybrid bluegill. I said, a hybrid? So like electric and what? And they said, no, it just grows twice as fast and twice as big as your regular bluegill. And as a kid, I used to love going with my dad up to Lake Yacomo in Kansas City and fishing for bluegill. I'm thinking, man, they grow twice as fast and they're twice as big. I may just go fishing in that little tank, you know? So I got 50 of them, and then I got 50 catfish. Now, before I did anything, Rochelle, what I did was just to make sure the environment was good, which I know it was. This is just basically Harrisonville tap water, by the way. Tomorrow, I'm going to put in some Miracle Grow and just run Miracle Grow through the system as well. But there was a point to this. I don't remember what it was. So anyway, we'll just go on with what I was saying. It'll eventually come back to me. What I did was also, when the water, we got the water in, we ran it through the system for a few days like we're doing right now. I went to Walmart and I got, I think, 5 goldfish. And I tried to get them as different as possible because I wanted a competition to see who would, you know, die and who wouldn't die and all that. I called them my canary in a coal mine, you know. If they died, then I knew it wasn't ready to throw in the real fish. So I threw them in there and they thrived, they did good. So I thought, you know, now the bluegill I didn't think would eat the goldfish. So I thought, well, I'll get 50 catfish. And so we put in 50 catfish because I just think it's cool. I like watching them swim around. They're just nasty little kind of little buggers. So I bought 50 catfish and I bought 50 bluegill, hybrid bluegill. And I think I spent like $32 on him. And I put them in there, and then we had the countdown. In fact, you can go on and take a look at some of my older videos from 2017, I believe, and you'll see we would have little episodes where we'd go in there and see, you know, who was gone and who was still there. And one lasted for a long time. He may have eaten the other goldfish. That was a bad goldfish because he didn't care about the catfish or anything. He hung around for a long time. And eventually, you know, they ate him, and that was cool. That was good. That's what his purpose in life was, and he did it well. Now, the catfish, I thought we were going to try and eat the bluegill, but the bluegill were pretty feisty. So the reality was that it worked well together by accident, those two. Now what I've since learned from people that really do know this stuff is that you should probably just use one type of fish. And another thing that I've discovered is that if I want to, and if I do this right, I can actually provide either a fish a day to eat, or in a month maybe, you know, 30 fish to feed 3 or 4 families. And the way you do that is when we introduce fish, you put 25 in. The next month you put 25 more in. And the next month you put 25 more in. Now what you're doing is that you're going to always have fish who are a month ahead, so that this month eventually, and it takes about a year, I found out, for these things to actually be edible. Well, I guess to be edible anytime, but be tasty edible, it takes about a year. So at the end of the year, I will have 1,200, no I won't either. I'll have 100, and how much will I have? What's 12 times 25? 250, I will have 300 fish. Is that right?
I'm not.
Somebody will correct the math if it's wrong, Reese.
math.
You know what? You're still in school. You know what's your excuse, buddy? Okay, so okay, 25, 50. So 25 times 10 is 250. Okay, I should have 300 fish at the end of the year. But at the end of the year, we start eating them. So you take out that first 25, put in another 25, and then you just keep doing that forever. So isn't that cool? So that's what we're going to do when we reintroduce fish. So Rochelle coming back again and seriously answering it to the best of my ability. It doesn't matter so much as for me there's just two criteria, and one kind of silly, but first it poops, and so it's a live fish. The second thing is you probably just don't want to throw exotic fish or gars or just junk fish in there, because you're not really doing the purpose that I think that we should be doing. That is making it sustainable, but making everything in here of value to somebody at some time. So whatever kind of fish you want, if you like tilapia, you know what, there have been some people I've seen who've used koi fish. I don't know what I think about that, to be honest with you, but you can put whatever kind of fish you want in there. Remember, this is your project, you can do whatever you want. So Rochelle, that was an excellent question, and just in the process of thinking about your question led me to doing some thinking and discovering some stuff of my own. So good job on that. So we talked about David and his philosophy. We talked about my philosophy on doing it. And we talked about fish. And what I want to do very quickly then is kind of explain where we're at right now. Again, the water's running. I've planted a few plants. And you know what? Really about all we're going to do now the rest of this year is just, the roof will be on in 2 weeks. I'm going to a Christian youth camp tomorrow for a week. And when I come back from that, we're going to put the roof up. So the next time I actually do a video, it'll be almost 100% complete. The problem is that as we speak, it's the 5th of July. And if I get fish now, that means I have to figure out some way to keep them alive and thriving during the summer. During the winter rather. And if I'm going to do that, then I should probably figure out a way to heat up my greenhouse. And yes, that is what is going to happen, but it's not going to happen this year. It's just too much going on too quick. So by this time next year, I should be having a video saying, now we're ready to go year round. So we're going to fire everything up in February. It'll still be a little chilly, but we can get the water running and we can start thinking about planting early. And then if we get our heating thing solved with the fish, we get the heating here at the right ambient temperature, then from that point on, it'll be a 24/7, 365, sustainable, self-sustainable. If I buy grass, the fish will eat. We will do nothing except just watch it, just keep going, and every once in a while, feed some people. And that is why I did this in the first place. I love good ideas, no matter how simple or how great. Good ideas, I just love them. I wish I had a few, because I'd be so excited. But so that's what's going on now. What you see is pretty much it. We're just running water through the system to make sure everything works, and we're about 95% where we want to be. We could actually plant and do everything we want to do right now, and I am going to monitor this stuff here. But we're just kind of working out a few kinks. We're ready. This is ready to go. It's just that this is absolutely the wrong time of year to get started on a project like this. And you know what? Man proposes, God disposes, and that's just the way it is. And it's taken 2 years to get to this point, so I'm just thrilled and excited that we're at this point. Now, the rest of this year, until it gets too cold, it's just modifications. We're going to throw the roof up, of course, and then I'm going to put some screening around part of it so we have a little bit of ventilation. I'm going to put a table in there. I'm thinking about putting a ceiling fan. And I'm thinking about getting some speakers in the corners and a nice little sound system, because I found out through trial and error that plants love alternative rock and roll played at great volumes. So that's what we'll be doing. And that brings us to the musical selection of the day. And actually I have two, because they're both kind of odd and different from each other. So I thought I'd give you a chance of which odd one you want to check out. The first one is Frontier Psychiatrist by the Avalanches. Awesome. Don't check the video out though. The video is too weird. But the Frontier Psychiatry by the Avalanches, and the second one is called More Folsom Prison Blues by the Unreal McCoys. And I'm not making this up. It is a combination of like Johnny Cash and Led Zeppelin. And it is weird. They meld it together and it works. So those are the music selections of the day. The More Folsom Prison Blues by the Unreal McCoys, or Frontier Psychiatrist by the Avalanche. Last thing, did I already talk about the contest to name this?
I believe so.
Okay, I don't think I did. Okay, through the encouragement of several people, both here in Harrisonville and part of the gaming community I'm associated with. By the way, I play one stupid game, but that's like, you know, I'm really wrapped up in it. So, between the encouragement I've gotten from everybody, I've decided to start doing a vlog. And I'm going to try and do it once or twice, at least once a week, or maybe twice a week. And just kind of basically whatever percolates to the top of my brain is what we'll talk about. Or I'll take suggestions, of course. But the first thing I would like to do is name this thing. And so I have a contest. I will give you a choice. The person who sends a name, and by the way, let's give them the information here, Reese, and that is David Cundiff. That's my Facebook name, David Cundiff. I live in Harrisonville, Missouri. My email is dacundiff@gmail.com. And that's it. You don't need my phone number, I don't think, do you?
Don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay, so send your suggestions for my name, or for the name of this vlog we're going to do. This is Hell's Angels again. Man, those guys are bad. So, send it to dacundiff@gmail.com, and the name that I select will get their choice of either a $25 Google Play Store gift card or a $25 Dairy Queen gift card to spend on all the boosters they want. Now, I guess whatever card's left over, me and Reese will split. Or maybe not, maybe I'll just do it, whatever. And if I pick the name, then of course I'll keep the card in the card. But seriously, send it to me, and actually, I'll think of something. I'll tell you what, the next, the second part will be viewer questions. If I select a viewer question for this week only, then I'll give you whatever the winner didn't take. So, name that show, email me or look me up on Facebook, whatever. But anyway, any questions or anything else, please send them to me. But let's get a name for this thing and let's have some fun. As always, God bless y'all.